Welcome back to DemoHub Pod, exploring the cutting edge of tech and AI powered by AI.
Powered by AI.
Empowered by AI.
I like it.
We're diving
Yeah.
headfirst into the world of large language models, or
LLM.
LLMs for short.
Yeah, LLMs for short.
You know, the kind of AI that seems like
Oh, yeah?
it's straight out of science fiction.
It does feel like sci-fi sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah,
But these LLMs are very much a reality,
Right.
and they're rapidly changing the tech landscape.
absolutely.
For those of you building your careers in tech, understanding how LLMs work and where they're headed is essential.
Yeah, before we get into the nuts and bolts, let's
Yeah.
start with the basics.
Sure.
What exactly is an LLM?
Think of it this way.
Yeah.
An LLM is like a supercharged brain that can understand and generate human language.
Okay.
But instead of neurons, it uses algorithms and tons of data to learn how to write,
Right?
translate, summarize, and even code.
So instead of being programmed with specific rules like traditional software,
Yeah.
what these LLMs
Yeah.
learn and adapt based on the data they're fed.
Exactly, and that's what makes them so powerful.
Okay.
They can tackle a wide range of tasks that would have been impossible for older AI systems.
Wow.
Imagine being able to analyze mountains of data and summarize the key points in seconds.
Okay.
Or having an AI assistant that can write different kinds of creative content on demand.
Wow.
That's the kind of power we're talking about.
That's mind-blowing. And you mentioned that these models are constantly improving.
Right.
How does that happen?
Well, two key things drive those improvements.
Okay.
More data and better techniques for training.
Okay.
As we generate more digital text, LLMs have more raw material to learn from.
Right.
And researchers are constantly developing new ways to train these models, making them more efficient and accurate.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending cycle of learning and refinement.
It sounds like the potential here is enormous.
Yeah.
But let's step back for a second and talk about the history of LLMs.
Okay.
Where did this all begin? I'm picturing some clunky old computer spitting out basic sentences.
You're not far off.
Okay.
Think back to 1966
Okay.
and a program called Eliza.
Eliza.
It was the first chatbot.
Okay.
Even if it just used pre-programmed responses based on keywords.
Okay.
Then we saw the rise of recurrent neural networks, or RNNs,
Oh,
which were the first to predict the next word in a sentence.
Okay.
A big leap forward,
Okay.
but still pretty limited.
Right.
The real game changer came in 2017
Right.
with Google DeepMind's introduction of Transformer.
Transformers.
Yeah.
I've definitely heard that term thrown around.
And for good reason. They're a specific type of neural network architecture that revolutionized the way LLMs work.
Okay.
Think of them as the engine that powers a lot of the amazing LLMs we use today.
So like the difference between a horse-drawn carriage and a Tesla.
That's a great analogy. Transformers allowed LLMs to become far more sophisticated in understanding and generating language.
So who are the big players in the LLM world today? Which models are making waves?
One you've likely heard of is GPT-3, known for its accuracy and natural language understanding.
GPT-3.
It can write anything from poems to code, and it's pretty darn good at it.
Impressive. Any others we should know about?
There's also Glove,
Glove.
which was recently recognized with the 2024 ACL Test of Time Paper Award.
Wow.
Now, that might sound like a mouthful, but it's a big deal in the world of natural language processing.
An award-winning model that definitely gets my attention.
Yeah.
But let's dive deeper into how these LLMs actually work.
Okay.
What's going on under the hood?
It all starts with breaking down text into bite-sized pieces.
Okay.
Imagine taking a sentence and separating it into individual words or even parts of words.
Right.
This is called tokenization.
Okay, so we're chopping up the language into manageable bits.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Then each of these tokens gets converted into a numerical representation called an embedding.
Embedding.
It's like giving each word a unique code that captures its meaning in relationship to other words.
So it's like translating human language into a code that the model can understand.
Precisely. And here's where the transformers come in.
Yeah.
They analyze these embeddings looking for patterns and connections between words.
Right.
This is how they learn to understand the structure and meaning of language and how they can generate new text that makes sense.
It sounds like a complex dance between language and math.
Right.
But I'm guessing the quality of that translation you mentioned depends on the data the LLM is trained on, right?
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
Remember the saying, garbage in, garbage out?
Oh, yeah.
It applies big time here.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You can't expect a model to produce brilliant insights if it's been fed junk data.
Right.
So walk us through the training process.
Okay.
How do you teach an LLM to understand language?
It's a massive undertaking.
Okay.
We're talking about feeding these models gigantic data sets, sometimes containing billions of words,
Wow.
from books, articles, websites, code, you name it. This allows the LLM to learn the nuances of language and how words relate to each other.
Okay, so we've got this massive model
Yeah.
trained on a mountain of data.
Right.
But what if we needed to do something very specific?
Okay.
Like, I don't know, analyze financial reports or write marketing copy.
That's where fine-tuning comes in.
Fine-tuning.
It's like taking a pre-trained LLM that already has a good grasp of language and giving it specialized training for a particular task.
Okay.
Let's say you want an LLM to understand financial jargon and write summaries of earnings reports.
Right.
You'd feed it a data set of financial texts and train it specifically on that type of language.
So it's like sending your LLM to a specialized training camp to hone its skills for a specific job.
Exactly. And that's what makes LLMs so versatile.
Okay.
You can fine-tune them for a huge variety of tasks, from writing different kinds of creative content to understanding complex scientific papers.
This is also fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
It feels like we're just scratching the surface of what LLMs can do. But even with all this power, there must be limitations, right?
Yeah.
Like, what happens when an LLM encounters information that wasn't part of its initial training data?
You've hit on a key challenge that researchers are working to address.
Okay.
And that's where some exciting new advancements come in, like knowledge distillation
Right.
and retrieval augmented generation, or RAG for short.
RAG.
Yeah.
RAG.
Okay, those sound like serious upgrades.
They are.
Can you break it down for us?
Sure.
What makes these advancements so significant?
Let's start with knowledge distillation.
Okay.
It's like taking all the knowledge packed into a huge, complex LLM
Right.
and distilling it into a smaller, more efficient model.
Okay.
Think of it like creating a Cliff Notes version of a massive textbook.
Right.
You get the key information without the bulk.
So you're essentially making the power of LLMs more accessible and easier to run on everyday devices.
Exactly.
Okay.
And RAG tackles the challenge of accessing information beyond the initial training data.
It allows LLMs to tap into external databases and retrieve relevant information on the fly, expanding their knowledge base significantly.
So it's like giving your LLM access to the internet,
Yeah.
allowing it to do research and learn new things in real time.
That's a good way to think about it.
Wow.
It opens up a whole new world of possibilities for what LLMs can achieve.
It really feels like we're on the cusp of a major technological shift.
We are.
But before we go too far down that road, let's shift gears and talk about the real-world applications of LLMs.
Okay.
What are some concrete examples of how this technology is changing things right now?
One area where LLMs are already making a big impact is machine translation.
Okay.
Think about a world where language barriers are virtually non-existent.
Right.
LLMs are powering increasingly accurate and nuanced translations, making it easier than ever for people who speak different languages to communicate.
No more clunky translations.
Right.
That's a game changer for sure.
It is.
What about other fields? Are there any interesting applications in, say, finance or marketing?
Absolutely. In finance, LLMs can be used to analyze market trends, assess risk, and even help make investment decisions.
Okay.
And in marketing, they can generate compelling ad copy, personalize content, and even help companies understand their customers better.
So LLMs are moving beyond just language tasks and starting to impact how businesses operate.
It's just the beginning.
Okay.
We're also seeing LLMs being used to automate tasks like document summarization,
Right.
code generation, and even scientific discovery.
It's mind-blowing how diverse these applications are.
It is.
It really highlights how adaptable this technology is.
Absolutely.
And don't forget about the potential for LLMs to create entirely new products and services that we can't even imagine yet.
It's true.
The possibilities are practically endless.
Endless.
This is all so exciting.
Yeah.
But I can't help but wonder about the bigger picture.
Sure.
If we zoom out and look at the future of the tech industry as a whole,
Yeah.
how do you see LLMs shaping things?
It's a big question, and one that's sparking a lot of debate. On the one hand, LLMs have the potential to automate many tasks that are currently done by humans.
Right.
This could lead to increased efficiency, productivity, and even the creation of entirely new jobs.
Okay.
But on the other hand, it also raises questions about the potential for job displacement and the need for workers to adapt to new roles.
So it's not just about the technology itself, but also the social and economic implications.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important for us to have these conversations now and think critically carefully about how we develop and implement these technologies.
Right.
We need to make sure that LLMs are used responsibly and ethically in a way that benefits society as a whole.
Well said. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break.
That's good.
When we come back, we'll delve deeper into the potential benefits and challenges of LLMs and explore how they might shape the future of tech.
I'm looking forward to it.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. It's definitely a fascinating and complex landscape full of possibilities, but also potential pitfalls. We need to be mindful of both.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great segue into our next topic.
Okay.
The ethical considerations surrounding LLMs.
Right.
It's one thing to marvel at their capabilities,
Oh, yeah.
but it's another to ensure they're used responsibly.
Couldn't agree more. One of the biggest concerns is bias.
Bias.
LLMs are trained on massive data sets of text.
Right.
And if that data reflects existing societal biases, the model might unintentionally perpetuate those biases in its output.
So, for example, if an LLM is trained on data that predominantly features male CEOs,
Yeah.
it might struggle to generate text that portrays women in leadership roles.
Precisely. It's crucial to be aware of these potential biases and work towards mitigating them.
Okay.
Researchers are exploring ways to de-bias training data and develop algorithms that are more fair and equitable.
It sounds like a tricky challenge,
It is.
but an essential one to address.
Absolutely.
What other ethical considerations should we be thinking about?
Another important issue is transparency.
Transparency.
LLMs can sometimes feel like black boxes. It's not always clear how they arrive at their outputs, which can make it difficult to understand their reasoning or identify potential errors.
So it's like asking an LLM to write a poem
Yeah.
and being amazed by the result,
Right.
but having no idea how it actually crafted those verses.
Exactly. And this lack of transparency can be problematic, especially in areas like healthcare or finance, where decisions made based on LLM output could have significant consequences.
It makes sense that we'd want to understand the why behind an LLM's decisions, especially when the stakes are high.
Yeah.
Are there any efforts underway to address this lack of transparency?
Yes. There's a growing field of research focused on making LLMs more explainable.
Okay.
Researchers are developing techniques to visualize how LLMs process information and make decisions, making it easier to understand their inner workings.
That sounds encouraging.
Yeah,
Seems like there's a lot of work being done to address the ethical challenges posed by LLMs.
there is.
But ultimately, it comes down to the people developing and using these technologies right.
Absolutely. We all have a responsibility to think critically about the potential impact of LLMs and to use them in a way that aligns with our values.
It's a powerful reminder that technology is never neutral. It's shaped by the choices we make.
Well said. And speaking of choices,
Yeah.
one of the exciting things about LLMs is the sheer range of potential applications.
Right.
We've already touched on some of them, but let's delve a bit deeper.
I'm all ears. What other exciting developments are on the horizon? What's got you fired up?
One area that's particularly fascinating is the intersection of LLMs with other technologies like virtual reality and augmented reality.
Wow.
Imagine a world where you can interact with highly realistic AI-powered characters in immersive virtual environments. Or have an LLM guide you through a complex task in the real world using augmented reality overlays.
Whoa, that sounds like something straight out of a science fiction movie.
I know, right?
But it's also incredibly exciting to think about the possibilities.
It is.
What about LLMs in creative fields? Are we going to see AI-generated novels, films, and music become the norm?
It's certainly a possibility. LLMs are already being used to write scripts, compose music, and even generate artwork. The question is,
Right.
how will human creativity evolve alongside these powerful AI tools?
It's a question that artists, writers, and musicians are grappling with right now.
Yeah.
Will LLMs become collaborators helping us push the boundaries of creative expression, or will they be seen as a threat to human artistry?
Only time will tell, but it's an exciting time to be witnessing this evolution unfold.
Absolutely. And speaking of exciting developments, let's talk about the potential impact of LLMs on industries beyond tech.
Sure.
We've already touched on finance and marketing.
Yeah.
But what about healthcare, education, or even government?
The possibilities are vast. In healthcare, LLMs could be used to analyze medical records, assist with diagnoses, and even personalized treatment plans. In education, they could provide personalized tutoring, automate grading, and create interactive learning experiences. And in government, they could be used to analyze data, improve public services, and even draft legislation.
It's almost overwhelming to think about the sheer scale of potential applications.
It is.
It feels like every industry could be transformed by LLMs in some way.
It really does.
But with all this potential comes a sense of responsibility, right?
Wow, absolutely.
We need to make sure these powerful tools are used for good.
You're absolutely right. As LLMs become more powerful and pervasive, it's essential that we have open and honest conversations about their ethical implications.
Yeah.
We need to consider issues like bias, transparency, and accountability, and work together to ensure that LLMs are developed and used in a way that benefits all of humanity.
Well said. It's clear that LLMs are poised to have a profound impact on our world.
They are.
And it's up to all of us to shape that impact in a positive direction.
It is.
So for all of you listening out there, we want to hear from you.
We do.
What are your thoughts on the future of LLMs? Are you excited about the possibilities, or do you have concerns about the potential downsides?
Yeah, it's a great question, and one that a lot of people are thinking about these days.
Right.
It's definitely a two-sided coin, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of excitement about the potential for LLMs to really revolutionize the way we work and live.
Right.
But there are also some legitimate concerns about the potential negative impacts.
Right.
One of the biggest concerns that people have is the potential for job displacement.
Yeah, that's the big
Yeah, as LLMs become more sophisticated, are they going to start taking over jobs that were previously done by humans?
Right. And I think that's a question that's on a lot of people's minds.
It is, and it's a valid concern, and it's something that we need to think about carefully.
So how do we think about that?
Well, I think it's important to remember that LLMs are tools.
Okay.
And like any tool, they can be used for good or for bad.
Right.
They can be used to augment human capabilities, or they can be used to replace them.
Right.
It really depends on how we choose to use them.
So it's not necessarily a foregone conclusion that LLMs are going to lead to mass unemployment.
No, not at all. I think there's a lot of potential for LLMs to create new jobs and to make existing jobs more interesting and more rewarding.
So instead of thinking about LLMs as job stealers,
Right.
we should be thinking about how they can help us do our jobs better, more efficiently, and perhaps even more creatively.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think about areas like data analysis, customer service, or content creation.
Okay.
LLMs can automate a lot of the repetitive tasks.
Right.
They can provide insights that would be difficult for humans to discern.
Okay.
And they can even generate creative content that sparks new ideas.
Right.
So this frees up human workers to focus on the higher level tasks
Right.
that require critical thinking, empathy, and complex problem solving.
So it sounds like a shift in mindset is needed.
Yeah.
Instead of fearing LLMs, we need to embrace their potential to enhance our skills and create new opportunities.
I couldn't agree more, and I think this shift is already happening in many industries.
Yeah. Okay. We're seeing companies use LLMs to personalize customer experiences, to optimize their supply chains, and even to develop new drugs.
It's exciting to see how LLMs are already transforming the way we work and live.
It is.
But it's also important to acknowledge that not everyone will benefit equally from this technological revolution.
Right.
What steps can we take to ensure that the benefits of LLMs are shared widely and that we don't exacerbate existing inequalities?
That's a crucial question.
Yeah.
And there's no easy answer.
Right.
But I think one key area is education and training.
Okay.
We need to equip people with the skills they need to thrive in a world where LLMs are increasingly prevalent.
Right.
This means investing in programs that teach people how to use LLMs effectively,
Okay.
how to understand their limitations,
Right.
and how to work alongside them.
So it's not just about teaching people to code,
No.
but also teaching them to think critically about AI,
Yes.
to understand its implications,
Yes.
and to use it responsibly. Exactly. And we need to make sure that these educational opportunities are accessible to everyone,
Right.
regardless of their background or socioeconomic status.
It's about creating a level playing field where everyone has the chance to participate in the AI-powered future.
Exactly.
Well said. I think this has been an incredibly insightful conversation.
It has been.
And I hope our listeners have gained a deeper understanding of the world of LLMs, their potential, and the challenges we face as a society.
I hope so too.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the technical underpinnings of LLMs to their wide-ranging applications and the ethical considerations that we need to keep in mind.
We have, and it's clear that LLMs are going to play a major role in shaping the future.
Absolutely. And as we move forward, it's going to be more important than ever to have these conversations.
Yeah.
To share our ideas and to work together to ensure that these powerful technologies are used for good.
I agree.
So to all of our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of LLMs.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking.
We did too.
And we encourage you to continue exploring this fascinating and rapidly evolving field.
Keep learning.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to DemoHub Pod, exploring the cutting edge of tech and AI, powered by AI.
Powered by AI.
And be sure to check back soon for more deep dives into the exciting world of technology.
We'll be back with more soon.
Until next time.
Bye, everyone.